Here we are at Mystic Seaport in Connecticut, the Museum of America and the Sea. So we'll be going in and trying to find the small schooner I'm looking for. Here we are at Mystic Seaport. People can stick their heads through the hole here for make a funny photograph. This is the L.A. Duncan here at Mystic Seaport, a two-mast schooner. And this is the kind of ship that the Sharp brothers came over from Scotland in 1784. So this is quite a machine. And what were you saying these boats were?
So these are dories that were on the 1921 fishing schooner L.A. Duncan.
Okay.
They were 1,800-foot lines.
Oh, wow.
With 300 hooks. Every 3 feet there's a little lanyard with a hook. And they'd get up at 4 in the morning and bait 300 hooks on 1,800-foot lines. But they would take several barrels of those each dory. So each dory could put in as many as 2 miles of line, which went right to the bottom of the banks. They were off of Newfoundland or off of Gloucester, and these were they were after bottom feeding fish.
Oh, I see.
Halibut and haddock.
Looks like we have some horses coming along here.
Yes, we have
Those are
horse
beautiful.
and carriage, and they do train these horses to be okay in crowds and noise, guns, cannons, you name it.
They look awful strong, you know.
And they in the
sea for weeks at a time. So ice and salting and drying are going to be the 3 main ways that we're going to keep our fish from spoiling, going bad. Yes.
If it went out for longer, how?
This is the cooking facilities here, I guess, and the eating facilities here on this fishing schooner. Here, the L.A. Duncan. I think I'll be going back upstairs in a minute, but it has quite a bit of room down here. Of course, when the Sharp brothers came over, it was different. They had bunks and places to sleep. Maybe that's in the other end here. This is the L.A. Duncan here. Here I am at the schooner's wharf to see the Agriva, I guess it is, the schooner. That's a two-mast schooner. We'll have to do a little bit of searching to find the ship. I think it's the one up here on the right. Here's a two-mast schooner that goes out to sea to cruise after May the 1st. Now this is the Argia here. The name has been kind of rubbed off. They're in getting it ready for the season right now. So this is the schooner a person can take after May the 1st on a sail around the harbor here. This is the Joseph Conrad training ship, built in 1882.
Sure,
Wonderful.
yeah. Well, she's called the Joseph Conrad now.
Oh, okay.
But she was built in 1882 in Copenhagen, Denmark.
Oh, wow.
And it was built specifically to be a training ship for boys to go into the merchant marine.
I see.
And so they'd sail every summer out of Copenhagen and learn the ropes. And by the end of the summer, they'd go to work in the merchant navy, merchant marine. So it was called the George Stodge, named after a young man who died at an early age of tuberculosis. His father was well-to-do. He was a successful ship owner, and he built the ship and basically gave it to Denmark as a training ship.
Oh, wow.
And so every summer those 50 boys would go get trained on it.
Wow,
and for
wonderful.
50 years, up until 1932, it was a training ship in Denmark.
Wow.
Then they got a new one, and they put this up for sale, and an Australian fella who had sailed the big windjammers around the Horn and done all of that as a ship's officer, he wanted to have a ship to sail around the world, and he'd written some books, made a little money, and he bought this and Took 3 years and sailed it all the way around the world till 1936.
With no injuries, I guess.
No, he was pretty much mishap-free, only minor kind of injuries, work-related injuries.
Didn't run into the Somalians or whatever.
He did a lot of the Pacific. He hit a lot of the islands in the Pacific, the island groups. Australia, of course, he was from Australia, so he stopped there on his way. And ended up in New York and sold it in New York, because by that time he needed money again.
Right.
And eventually she was used during the war as a training ship, briefly down in Florida.
Okay.
And then in 1947, by Act of Congress, it was given to Mystic Seaport Museum, and it's been here since 1947.
Oh, wow. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. That's what we.
Here's the lighthouse we're going to go into for a few minutes and see what it's like inside. This is the Rose Cliff Mansion here in Newport, Rhode Island. This is where the movie The Great Gatsby with Robert Redford and Mia Farrow were made, and also True Lies with Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's a wonderful place. It's a very opulent, very luxurious, very beautiful. Here's the lines here at the Rose Cliff in the formal garden in the front.
This is French, the other one was Italian, right?
Yeah. I'm at the back of the Rose Cliff, looking out on the ocean here. As you can see, they have a beautiful lawn in the back. We are now in the other side of the Rose Cliff, here at this beautiful statue. It's starting to sprinkle rain, so I have to leave in a minute. Here's a sweeping view of the Rose Cliff from the back. Here we are at the Elms. It's still in Newport, Rhode Island. This one has many decorations outside. Gargoyles. Rather fascinating. This fascinating tree in front of us is the European birch. Many of the trees here in Newport were imported from foreign lands. It's almost like an arboretum, the whole city. So it's called a weeping birch, I do believe. Here we are down in Kings Park, looking out upon the bridge. We're doing a panoramic scan here at this point, so you can see the shoreline of Newport, Rhode Island. Here we have a yacht down here on the harbor in Newport, Rhode Island. The wind is blowing extremely hard right this minute, so it's hard to hold this camera steady. Now this is the hotel where we will be staying tonight, just across from the Macy's here in Providence, Rhode Island. And this hotel was once a shirt factory for the Civil War. Then it was made into a Fruit of the Loom factory, and then it was converted into this hotel, the New York Low Hotel. I think if we can see the sign here. It's hard to see because it's so severely backlit. Here's the back deck of the hotel. They let me come out here. I wanted to see the river. And earlier there was some ducks on the river, but they're gone now. But this was once a shirt factory for the Civil War. And then it was turned into a Fruit of the Loom shirt factory, and then finally a hotel. And I guess the other part of the factory is closed. It's not being used right now. This is part of the restaurant down here at the hotel. It's not open right now.